Hello, welcome to episode 204 of Down the Rabbit Hole. Today we are talking about the eighth child of Queen Victoria. That's right, you heard me, eight. How many kids did she have? Nine. Did I have enough to fit all of them into series? No, that will have to wait till the next set of series I get ready to record? Yes. Well, but if you're new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Also, please subscribe, Pepper Girl out. But today we will be talking about Prince Leopold, the Duke of Albany. Now, Prince Leopold was born April 7, 1853 at Buckingham Palace. He was the eighth and youngest son of Queen Victoria of the UK and Prince Albert of Saxe, Coburg, and Gotha. And during labor, Queen Victoria chose to use chloroform, and thereby encouraged the use of anesthesia in childbirth. And the chloroform was administered by John Snow, the son of a British sovereign. The newborn was styled His Royal Highness. Um, and the Prince Leopold at birth. Now his parents named Leopold after a common uncle, King Leopold I of Belgium. Now he would inherit disease hemophilia from his mom, Queen Victoria, and was a delicate child. And there was speculation during his life that he may have had mild epilepsy, like his great nephew Prince John. Now, let's talk about his education and his career. His career. The prince's intellectual abilities were evident as a boy, as poet poet laureate Alfred, Lord Tennyson, and his friend philosopher James Martineau were familiar with the Queen's children and had noticed that Leopold was often conversed with the eminent Dr. Martineau and was considered to be a young man of a very thoughtful mind, high arms, and quite remarkable acquirements. His daughter, Princess Alice, wrote in her memoirs that he was literary and artistic inclinations of which encouraged developed a beloved tutor. Now let's talk about him at Oxford. So in 1872, he would enter Christ Church, Oxford, where he studied a variety of subjects, and where he became president of Oxford University Chess Club. Um, and at the age of 17, he made privy councillor, and he left the university in 1876 with an honorary doctorate in civil law. He then traveled in Europe. In 1880, he toured Canada and the United States with his sister, Princess Louise, whose husband, John Campbell, Marquess of Lorne, was governor of the General of Canada, and Leopold was a prominent patron of chess, and the London 1863 chess tournament was held under his patronage. So, incapable of pursuing a military career because of his hemophilia, and the need to avoid even minor injuries, he instead became a patron of the arts and the literature and served as an unofficial secretary to his mom. Later, he pursued a vice-regal appointments of Canada in the colony of Victoria, but his mom refused to appoint him to his great unhappiness. So, despite his inability to pursue an active military role, he had an honorary association with the 72nd Regiment, Duke of Albany's own Highlanders. In 1881, served as the first colonel-in-chief of the Seaforth Highlanders, when that regiment was formed with the merger of the 72nd Regiment of the 78th Regiment of Foot. So, let's talk about the Freemasonry now. Now, he was an active Freemason, being initiated into the Apollo University Lodge at Oxford. While resident at Christ Church, he was proposed to as a membership by his brother, Albert Edward, who was at the time a worship master of the lodge, and he was initiated at a joint ceremony with Robert Hawthorne Collins and his friend and tutor, who became a comptroller at the household. Now Leopold served in the lodge from 1876 to 1877. He was later the provincial Grand Master at Oxfordshire. Let's talk about his marriage now. Prince Leopold um, was stifled by a desire Queen Victoria to keep him at home, saw marriage as his only way of independence. Due to his hemophilia, he had difficulty finding a wife. He would be acquainted with Alice Liddell, the daughter of Henry Liddell, the Vice Chancellor of the Oxford for whom Lewis Carroll wrote Alice in Wonderland about. And Leopold was the godfather of Alice's second son, who was named after him, and it had been suggested to consider marrying her. Though others suggest that he preferred her sister Edith. Now Leopold also considered his second cousin was considered his second cousin Princess Frederica of Hanover as a bride. They instead became lifelong friends and confidants. And other royals and aristocratic women were pursued. There is Daisy Manor, Princess Elizabeth of Hesse Castle, Princess Caroline Matilda, Schleswig-Holstein, Sonderburg, and Augsburg, Princess Stephanie of Belgium, and Princess Victoria of Baden. Leopold was very fond of Mary Baron, daughter of Lord Ashburton, but she was not. She was but she was equally fond of him. At 19, she felt she was too young to marry. Thank you. I respect that actually. But Protestant families, Victoria suggested meeting at Princess Helen Frederica, the daughter of George Victor. Reigning from the Prince of Waldeck-Pyrmont was one of the daughters who had already married King William the Third of the Netherlands. On April 27, 1882, Leopold and Helen were married at St. George's Chapel at Windsor, and was raised Parliament and to a happy and about brief marriage. In 1883, Leopold became a father. When his wife gave birth to Alice, however, he did not live to see the birth of his son Charles Edward. Now let's talk about his illness and death. Prince Leopold had hemophilia, and he had various positions and permanent attendance as well. Now he went to Canes in the doctor's orders for joints and stuff like that. He would die in the early hours of March 28th from apparently from a cerebral hemorrhage. So, having 6 years after his older sister Alice was the second, but he was the youngest of Queen Victoria's children to die, as well. But that is it for this episode. Y'all can join me next time as we talk about Princess Beatrice. Y'all have a great day and a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully, I get the rest of these episodes recorded, so it will actually be a